What is up, my fellow Cheebits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today. So with that being said, before I begin, if you're wondering why I have two shirts on, well, it's cold. It's really freaking cold. And I think it's about like 20-something degrees outside now. I know many might say, Chibi, that ain't that cold. Oh, Chibi, that's way too cold. I know there's going to be mixed, viewpoints because there's many of you out there that live in much colder temperatures than I would ever do. But still, the thing is, it's cold. So, yeah, how cold is it over there? I know temperature is falling quite a bit, especially if you live where I'm at, like in the States on, the East. You probably definitely felt that temperature drop. So anyways, let us begin. This is episode 11, if I'm correct, of Juuni Taisen. Yeah, I see episode 11. So it's episode 11 of Juuni Taisen. And I want to say right now that this episode was fascinating. It was probably by far one of the best episodes of the series. I liked last episode because it kind of redeemed itself, and even though I knew Tiger was probably going to die, and even in this episode I knew Ox was probably going to die, even then, I still really enjoyed this episode and last episode, even though I expected certain outcomes of the deaths with the characters. And so, I have to say that the final two episodes we've had so far, they have definitely made up for what was kind of a very bumpy middle half of this series. Like, the middle was really bad. Like, I didn't like where the middle of the series was going, and now that we're here, it's actually flowing a lot better. But anyways, though, let's talk about it. So, Ox dies. Now, Ox's character overall, we get to find out what type of person he is. We saw a little bit of him in the last episode and all that. We dived into his character bit. And in this episode, we see how he likes to detach himself and think about everything without emotion. He likes to systematically analyze things. He doesn't like to always add an emotion. Sometimes he does, especially how he was viewing Tiger, because he even says at the beginning of the episode, but most of the time, even when it comes to his own self and his own death, he views things with no emotion. And it's a very interesting perspective how he views things, but even then, when he came to his end, the way he went out, it was very fitting for his character. It was a very fitting way to go, and also, it made a lot of sense, actually, but let's talk about that. So, Ox, the reason how he died was that, obviously, Rabbit, he was controlling his corpse, he came out and all that, he put his corpse together, which, oh man, they just creepy and disgusting looking. I will give props to the animators of that, and then the artist and stuff, whoever designed that, like in general, the designing of that, like if Nishio himself actually designed that, I will say right now, that's a really fantastic design, especially for like the final boss, technically, of the series. That was a fantastic design. It was really creepy, and I like seeing how Rabbit just put himself together, tied up, like, with, like, wrappings, like string or whatever all around him. It was just a very grotesque looking image, and I thought it was just a great way to emphasize how monstrous Rabbit is, and that he's just not someone that will easily be put down. And especially that twist, though, when Monkey popped up out of him, that surprised me. That legit surprised me. I will say right now, for a series that's been kind of predictable in here and there, that right there surprised me. That was a really well done part of this episode. That was a great twist. So, anyways, basically what we had going on there is that once Monkey got on top of, Ox, Monkey came out and held him down. He couldn't really do much at all, and in turn while Rabbit was reforming, which led into where Rat became the victor, thanks to Sheep and the explosive. So let's talk about that. So Rat, he's the winner. He is the winner of the Juuni Taisen. Now, to be honest, Rat lacks a lot of characterization. He lacks a lot, because he has had the least, well, he's been here and there throughout the series, but he has, I would say, out of all the characters, he has the least amount of screen time. He does. Maybe if you factor in Boar. Boar, debatable, but right now, though, Rat, he had a lack of screen time, and it makes sense why he would live. If we're following the formula, the character with the least amount of details about them most likely would win, or not die. In this case, Rat, he won. But it doesn't just stop there. It actually is a really cool way of how Rat won the Juuni Taisen in the first place. He won it thanks to, from what I'm assuming, being able to go into different realms. For instance, different parallel worlds. That's what it looked like to me. Now, he most likely might be able to analyze things and put things in his head and think about everything, what's going to happen, or what could possibly happen. but I believe it's more along the lines of maybe him, like, traveling into parallel worlds. And the reason for that, and why I think that in the first place, is because multiple of the characters throughout the journey of Juuni Taisen, they always were constantly saying, I know him from somewhere, I know Rat from somewhere, I've seen him somewhere, why do I know him? Even though he's someone that doesn't stick out, he's like a minor character, like, that's how he looks like a minor character, this background support character that doesn't look relevant at all. You know, you'd think, like, if someone recognized him, like, why would they recognize him even though he feels like he just has no existence at all? It's very weird. In this case, that's what was revealed. Apparently, he had the ability to actually predict all possible outcomes for the future. Now, like I said, this can be, you know, to do with parallel universes, or it can do with he thinks everything in his head and it's like, you know, a program, basically. Whatever it may be, it's extremely broken. It's an extremely broken ability, which led to how he won in the first place. Apparently, there was 100 different routes. So basically, you know how when you're playing a visual novel, like if you're playing a visual novel game, whatever, and you have to make multiple save states and stuff, like at certain points, like, okay, a good example is, you're playing a visual novel, and there's a question that pops up, you have this girl ask you a question, like in the visual novel, and depending on your answer will determine if you get with her or not in, like, you know, the game. Well, that's basically what happened here, but instead, drastic consequences, like very drastic consequences, like you would die or something. In this case, the man had like the ability to make multiple save states and then, you know, pop back up in the spot and then go a different direction. That's basically what happened. He was able to analyze everything and then pick a route he wanted to go. He kept redoing it over and over, which was a really interesting power because it led to how he won. And it also couldn't have been easy in the first place, because the only reason how he was able to overcome all of that and reach the conclusion of where the only route he was able to live was thanks to constant, you know, trial and error, which I feel like the theme of that, the theme of his ability with how he had to constantly repeat things and keep going down dead ends to just finally reach the perfect end, I think perfectly fits in with what Rat is in the first place. So here's an example. As we know, when you think of rats, especially when it comes to science and stuff, you think of rats in like a lab, you know, experimenting and having to dash through their maze and all that to get to the cheese. That's basically what all of us have probably heard one point in our lives, to where the rat has to find the cheese in the maze. And that's what Rat was basically doing. He was having to navigate through the maze, hit dead ends, and then eventually find the way, the proper path to where the cheese is. And that's what happened here. I think it was a perfect symbolic message going on with that, especially when it comes to what Rat is, and I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a really cool thing. It's a little bit, you know, out there, like you could automatically like see it and all that, like, you know, where the writer was going with it, but I thought it was really cool the way that was added. But anyways, though, the next thing to talk about, let's talk about how the ending was done. So, Rat, he wins, obviously, and his ability is kind of explained, and you can see from the way Rat is trying to interact with the dude, he tries to not say anything. He tries not to reveal any information about himself. He tries to be able to just walk out of there and not do anything, basically. But then we see constant repeats of this man getting shot down or whatever, falling down an elevator, or either, you know, getting eaten by crows, which that was very weird. Like, it makes you assume if the announcer has the ability to control the crows and stuff, like how, you know, Chicken was, it really makes you question that. But anyways, though, the big point is that he tried to get out without saying anything. He didn't want to really even talk to the man in the first place, but every time he tried to run away, he would die, which shows that there was just no escaping the conversation, the interview with this announcer dude. And once that was done, though, once he was having a mid-conversation, if he would have said something wrong or if he would have done something wrong, he also would have died. So he had to navigate through the conversation a certain way just to be able to survive that thing. So it makes you wonder exactly what type of powers does these announcers have and the people controlling the game for them to be able to just take down someone that easy. For instance, like someone of the Zodiacs. It really just makes you wonder. Oh yeah, and another thing before I actually end this video though, apparently there's supposedly going to be a sequel or something for the series. I could be wrong there, but that is what I am hearing. I am hearing that apparently Juuni Taisen might be getting a sequel. Like I said, I could be wrong, take that with a grain of salt, but I have heard something about that on social media. So if it is, that seems rather interesting. I wonder where the story will go. I would love to see the characters that died come back. I would love to see them actually not be permanently dead, because we do know that somehow these wishes, they could possibly bring people back, so maybe that could potentially be a thing. Who knows? So, yeah. I want to end it there. It was a good episode. It was a really good episode. I liked Rat's character, and even though it was predictable in a lot of ways, I thought it was an enjoyable episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you enjoy this week's episode? Did you hate this week's episode? If you enjoyed my content, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please leave a like. I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.